Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got another Mustang Mach-E video today. This one's a winter related video, and let me play you the clip.
Yeah, see, I'm sliding down my driveway right now and I'm in park. That is terrifying.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. So I was shoveling my driveway, and I didn't get it all the way down to the pavement. There was still a little bit of ice left, a little bit of snow that was kind of really stuck on there. But anyway, got most of the snow cleared off, and so I had backed the Mach-E out and left it in the driveway. And then I was going to clean up in the garage and, sweep the floors and stuff. And so I turn around and I'll play you the footage here from my garage camera. I'm starting to walk back towards the Mach-E, and I notice that it's like starting to slide down the driveway, and I'm like, oh no. Thankfully it stopped. It didn't go super far, and it didn't hit anybody. It didn't go into the street or anything. But this really surprised me. The driveway is definitely slippery, but it's not that slippery. And what really surprised me too is the Mach-E that I have is the premium. It's not the GT, but it is the premium four-wheel drive model. And so this surprised me even further. And so in the clip, you'll notice that the back wheels, the rear wheels, are totally locked and sliding, and then the front wheels are turning. They're spinning. They're not locked. And so this wouldn't be too surprising if this was just a rear-wheel drive car, but I was really surprised because this is the four-wheel drive model. But yeah, I think this all makes sense when you start to think about it, but this was not something I was expecting. And just wanted to get this info out there in case you own one of these cars and you're doing any kind of parking on any kind of incline, especially in the wintertime. So what's going on here, I had the car in park, and I also had the parking brake, emergency brake set. But in this car, the emergency brake, that's gonna, lock the rear brake calipers on the rotor to keep the rear wheels from turning. And then also the rear motor in this car has, a transmission like parking brake. So when you turn your selector to park, and you don't put on the parking brake, emergency brake, but you're in park in terms of the, transmission, there should be a little cog in the motor that kind of keeps the wheels from turning. And so, typically you don't really have to use the emergency brake at all, and that'll keep the car from rolling. Well, the Mach-E, from everything I can tell, and definitely based on this video, the Mach-E is only locking the rear motor and the rear wheels. The front motor doesn't have any kind of lock at all. And so, really you have to treat the Mach-E, even the four-wheel drive models, like a rear-wheel drive car in terms of thinking about how you park and, what wheels can freewheel and what wheels won't. This is worse than an actual all-wheel drive car, and also worse than a front-wheel drive car. In the front-wheel drive car, you've got the, when you're in park with the transmission, that's going to kind of lock your front wheels with the transmission. And then you can, set your emergency brake, and then that's going to use the brake calipers, lock up your rotors in the back, and essentially you've got all four wheels locked in the front-wheel drive car. All-wheel drive car, same situation, but now you've got the drive shaft between the front and the rear axle. And if that's engaged, which if your car is all-wheel drive all the time, it would be. So all four wheels are going to be locked, and then if you do the emergency brake, it's also going to lock, kind of double lock the rear wheels. Now, in a rear-wheel drive car, like a standard Mustang, or, a lot of the pickup trucks and stuff that don't have four-wheel drive, those are typically rear-wheel drive. Your transmission park and your emergency brake, really that's only affecting your rear wheels, and the front wheels are able to freewheel. And so that's how the Mach-E is behaving, even the all-wheel drive Mach-E. So I think this kind of makes sense based on how they've set up this car, but I wasn't expecting it, and it surprised me a little bit. So the Mach-E is really a rear-wheel drive platform car. You know, the base model, Select, premium trims, the Route 1, those are all, they start life as a rear-wheel drive car. So the bigger motor is in the back for all of the Mach-E's. The GT doubles up on that. It adds that big motor in the back also to the front. But the platform is, you know, bare bones, it's a rear-wheel drive setup. So it makes sense that the parking brake in terms of the motor would be in the back. So I think when they added all-wheel drive to these cars, there's no lock of any kind going on with the front motor. I'm not 100% sure how the GT handles this. It's possible the GT has a parking brake in the front and back, since it uses that larger rear motor in the front and back. But I will have to reach out to a couple of GT owners and see if they can test this to know for sure. My suspicion is that it would also only be in the rear for those cars as well. So anyway, wanted to get this info out there because it is important. I mean, anytime you park on a hill, it's generally good practice to, you know, put your transmission in park, set your e-brake, and turn your steering wheel so that your wheels are, you know, pointed into the curb. So if you lose your brakes and everything, start sliding, you're going to slide into the curb, and the curb will stop you from, you know, rolling down the hill. But if you don't have a curb or anything to, you know, turn your wheel into, kind of out of luck. Now, you know, drive pavement and stuff, all of this would be perfectly fine. Really, we don't have to worry about it. And again, it's not like the Mach-E is worse than a rear-wheel drive car. It's just, it behaves like one, and you might not be expecting it to. You know, reading through the forums online, I found, you know, somebody else ran into this, had their car slide down their driveway and into the street. And a lot of the comments on the forums were, oh yeah, you know, this happens, you know, that's just kind of the nature of the car. You know, you should put snow tires on it. That will help. I agree. Snow tires would definitely help. It would give you more grip. But in my testing here, when the car was sliding backwards, I just tapped the brake pedal, which is then going to apply brakes to all four wheels. And the car stopped fine. So this tells me that, you know, if you have, if the front wheels were able to be locked and not roll, that's going to, you know, now you've got two extra contact points not wanting to roll and slide. So yeah, at some point the ice or the slope of the hill is going to prevail, and no matter what setup you've got going on, all-wheel drive, e-brake or not, you know, you could eventually slide down the hill. The ice and gravity are going to win eventually. But I have to say, it would be nice if those front wheels locked kind of like you're expecting in a four-wheel drive car. So obviously there's, you know, motor in the front, motor in the back. There's no, you know, drive shaft or anything in the EV. It's totally separate systems, and they work together electronically. There's no physical connection between the front and rear axle. So agree, snow tires would help. You know, I get it, but it would also help a lot if the front wheels didn't roll on their own.